Session is basically a light session. Okay, so in this session I'll not take you into the complexities of EWM or into the screens of EWM. Okay, I'll just now give you a very basic understanding of what the EWM is and why there is a demand of EWM in the market, why EWM has come up in the market, and why customers and the clients are basically focused, okay, to switch to EWM. Okay, so in this session I will be discussing on that particular part only. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just share my screen and let me know if you all can see it. Okay, and then I'll start. Can you all see my screen?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so to start with, now in EWM, okay, first of all I'll just take you through what the course curriculum we have. Okay, so it's basically comprised of around 27 topics that we have. Okay, starting from the basic one, okay, where we have the inbound and the outbound flow. And with the inbound outbound flow, there are no many flavors that we have, the different type of inbounds we can have, different type of outbounds we have, and what are the internal processes. In warehouse we have the three things we have. One is the inbound, where we are receiving the material from the vendor. One is the outbound, where we are now sending the material to the customer. And one is the within the warehouse, how we are operating the things from one storage type to another storage type, from one storage section to another storage section, from one storage bin to another storage bin. Now what is this storage type, storage section, storage bin? I'll come to that. Okay, but you can see that this is how the warehouse, okay, course is designed. Okay, so in my entire discussion I may switch into no Hindi and English, so just pardon me upon that particular part. I think most of you will be comfortable with both of these language. Okay, so by my first prime mode of discussion will be English, but sometimes I'll not try to switch myself into Hindi also. Okay, so over here you can see this is basically the course curriculum I have, that comprise of inbound flow, outbound flow, and the internal processes. Apart from that, if I now scroll little down, you can see that we have the inventory management, that is the internal process of warehouse. Okay, then we have some new things in EWM like slotting and other things like PPF action slottings. We will come to that, we will park that for the later stages. Okay, not for today. We have the scannings, RF scanners with us. Okay, in this course curriculum we have wave management. What is wave? I'll come to that, okay, later in that particular part. Okay, then we have some of the advanced topics I have parked. Okay, so these advanced topics are basically have the integration of EWM with the quality inspection. Okay, so I think that I have already covered over here. So EWM integration with the quality inspection, EWM integration with the production integration. Okay, how the production process works and how we can integrate it with EWM. So if I want to produce any material, how can I perform the material staging, okay, in EWM? How can I pick the material from the main warehouse and then bring it to the production supply area? Okay, and then how can I consume that material in EWM? So all those things we can discuss. Okay, there are even different type of integrations in EWM. One is the advanced production integration and one is the outbound delivery integration. Okay, then we have the deconsolidation process. Okay, so it is basically you are receiving a big pallet from the customer, so sorry, big pallet from the vendor. Okay, that big pallet has a combination of materials. Okay, it can have different materials in one big pallets. So instead of directly receiving that pallet as it is and now storing it into the warehouse, okay, what you will do, you will break those pallet first. Okay, one big pallet you will break it up. You will just keep all the material aside. One type of material you will keep it aside. I'll always give this example like cricket kit. So you have received a mix of cricket kit kind of stuff from a vendor. Okay, you have a bat, you have a helmet, you have wickets, everything in one big box. So instead of directly storing that box into the warehouse may not entertain such a big pallets, okay, in your storage types or storage sections, or you may not have that big space. So what you will do, you will break those pallets, okay, and then create smaller pallets. Okay, and then keep one type of material in each pallet. Means you have just keep all the helmets in one pallet, in one box, all the you can say wickets in one box, all the apparels in one box. So such kind of thing you basically do. Okay, and then you take it into the warehouse. That we call it as deconsolidation. Then we have the kitting process. Okay, so kitting is basically used in the production side, okay, where we basically have we basically prepare one big basket, okay, of the equipment that is required at the production side. Okay, then we have the yard management, we have the packing centers where we want to pack the material and then ship it to the customer, that we call it as a packing centers. Okay, so we have different topics that we have parked under the advanced side: two-step picking, cross docking, batch management, exception handling. So these are the things that we have parked under the advanced side. So this comprises of both the basic and the advanced. Okay, we'll start from the basic. Okay, just try to understand. We'll try to take a feel of EWM, what EWM is. Okay, how are the basic inbound and the outbound process works, and then gradually we will basically add complexity in the system. Okay. Okay. So since we have already discussed on the course content, I'll share the course content with you so that you can have a very you can have a look of those course content that we have. Now coming to this, what is EWM? Okay, so the EWM is basically extended warehouse management, as what the definition says. Now what is extended in this case? Extended is basically the extension of the functionalities, extended features it has, that basically deals the current and the future complexities of the warehouse. Okay, so it basically has all those features as what whatever the current complexities we have in the warehouse, and what could be the future complexities. Considering those, this extended warehouse management basically helps in catering those complexities. Now what are those complexities, what are those extended features, what are those extended functionalities that was not there in the WM management system, okay, which is there in EWM, that we have to look for. I think somebody okay. So hi Dhruv, we are just now discussing. We have just started with the with this EWM concept. Okay, what is extended warehouse management? So I'll just talking about that. Extended warehouse management is basically the extension of the functionalities and the features that we have in this particular system, which was not there in the WM system. Okay, the old SAP WM system that we have. So that those features were not there, and that's why this extended warehouse management has a edge in the market, and the client is, or the customers are basically moving towards the EWM solutions. Now if you can see what all features we have, okay, that was not there in the warehouse management system, the old SAP ECC warehouse management system. So you can see these are the basically the list of the features. Okay, so if you can compare over here, this is basically the warehouse management that still some of the companies or most of the companies are still using it, because it's just a transition phase. Okay, so most of the companies are transforming or moving from SAP WM to EWM. Okay, and you can see the list of the features that we have in the WM system, the old WM system I call it as, and the EWM system we have. So you can yourself, you can decide that what all the standard functionalities we have. Standard means these can easily be configured in the system, and we do not require any ABAP help or something. Yes, tweak and turns are required, some delta scenarios are required. Okay, then we of course need the customizations, but you can see these are the list of the functionalities that we have in EWM system. Because of it, it has an edge in the market, which was not there in the WM management system. If most of you, means if any of you have not seen how the warehouse look like, so this is, you can just refer this screenshot. This is how the warehouse look like. Okay, the general warehouse, which has all the different racks. Okay, we have the entire storage location kind of things, and this entire storage location is basically divided into different areas. Okay, so if I want to place one type of material, okay, in a warehouse, then what I will do, or in a particular storage location, I will basically break the entire store location to different areas. Okay, and accordingly I will try to place the material in those particular areas, and those areas are further segregated into storage, you can say, storage sections and the storage bins. Okay, so suppose you have this particular storage location in place. So what you will do, you will divide the entire storage location into different areas. Okay, you number those areas. These areas we call it as storage types. Okay, in EWM system. or in the WM system also. Somebody have joined, I think. And then what we do, we basically divide this entire storage type into different sections also. So you can see these are the different sections we have. Okay, you can consider these as a different sections. So these sections can be the type of the material that you are using, like you are just placing electrical components at one place, okay, and the cylindrical component at one place, tubes at one place. So you can basically divide the entire storage type into these different sections. Another type of sections you can have is basically the fast moving, slow moving, and the average moving material. कोई मटेरियल बहुत ज्यादा यूज होता है, द मटेरियल दैट इज मोस्ट ऑफनली यूज, ओके, सो दैट यू कैन consider it under the fast moving materials, okay, and those materials will be picked, okay, oftenly from the warehouse. Then the entire storage type is divided into the different sections, okay, based on the type of material or based on the flow of the material, that is fast moving, slow moving, or the average moving. And then the further the storage sections are divided into the storage bins. So you can see these are the different bins that we have, okay, over here. So these are the different bins that we have, okay. So this is the bin, okay, these are the bins that we have in the warehouse in the storage types. And within these bins we can basically have the different storage units also that we can place. What is storage unit? It is basically the cartons, you can see the small handling units or the carton where we are keeping either one type of material or mix of material, depending on whatever the type of material that is permitted to be add in a particular storage unit or handling unit. In old WM system we call it as storage unit, okay, and in EWM system we call it as handling unit, okay. That is what the difference is. So this is how the warehouse look likes, okay, and this is the entire. There are different type of warehouses, okay, where we have different storage type. कुछ storage type हमारे high racks होते हैं, okay. We have the small low racks, we have high racks, we have the open storage. Open storage means these are the open storage, okay, where we can keep the material, okay, openly, and that can be easily seen by the warehouse operators, and then they can pick those materials. Some of them are basically the bulk material. You can see these are the bulk storage area where you are keeping the material in bulk, okay. A big material, bulky material also you can place it. So for those we do not require any racks, okay, or the warehouse structures. We can simply mark those things over the floor, okay. The storage bin area, we can mark it over the floor, and then we can place those materials over there as it is, because these are the bulky materials, okay. So we place, okay, over the floor itself. So just to give a very high level flavor of how the warehouse look like, this is how the warehouse look like, okay. So I was talking about the features, extended features. So these are the list of the extended features we have. Apart from that, why customer are basically going up with going to EWM? The prime reason is basically the one that we have already discussed, that it is basically catering the future complexities of the warehouse. That is fine. Okay. The second thing is that is basically a big concern for the customer is SAP is stop supporting the support of SAP WM after 2000. Initially it was 2025, but I think it has now extended to 2027 or suppose, okay. I may be wrong, but this is what the information I am updated with, okay. That is 2027. After 2027 SAP will not provide any support, okay, in SAP WM. SAP WM means the old SAP WM that we are using, and most of the big companies also using that WM system, and now they are basically thinking to switch into EWM side. Apart from that, in WM and in EWM, what is the major difference I can see is basically we can easily integrate the Fiori applications. Have you anyone have seen the Fiori applications, maybe in MM side, or anyone have seen Fiori applications, how the Fiori applications look like?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is a very beautiful kind of tile kind of forms that we have, okay. So we are not interacting with the desktop based application. I call it as an ugly applications, because it has a lot of fields over it, okay. So Fiori application एक बहुत ही beautiful page होता है जिसपे only limited information is there, okay, and then we basically send those information, okay, to the SAP system. SAP system basically execute those information in the background, and then send, and then basically update the system or update the database accordingly. Okay, so it is a bi-directional kind of activity that flows in the Fiori application. Okay, so it is highly integrated, means for that we do not need to configure anything. Those are already up and running in EWM system. That is the first thing. Second is basically it is highly integrated with the RF scanners. If you compare it with the WM system, for that we have basically we need a third party interface, okay, in order to connect with the RF scanners. But in EWM it is not like this. Only with few configurations you can now directly connect it with RF scanners. Yes, ITS and other applications are basically required in order to launch, okay, launch the screens, okay, RF screens over the RF scanners. That is a different thing, but it is highly integrated. Okay, no need to basically connect with the third party interface whenever you want to use the RF scanners or the Fiori application. So that I believe is a big advantage that we have in EWM system as compared to the WM system. In WM system also, no, whenever we have a conveyor systems and other things, again we have to do lot of no customizations, configurations, okay, interface with the third party. In EWM system it is now coming up with MFS, material flow system. Okay, so this material flow system is basically a inbuilt functionality of EWM, okay, which has a set of configurations in it, okay, that basically helps in communicating with the automation machines. Automation machines means the automatic conveyor machines like you have seen in the airports or in the Amazons and all. It can easily connect with the cardiac systems. These are the vertical lifts, okay, automated vertical lifts that basically move up and down, okay, to place the materials. Okay, we have the compact store integration. So lot of automations you can easily play in EWM system because of its advanced features that it has come up with. Another thing in EWM that I can see is basically the work centers. These are something that is very beautifully designed in EWM. Now what is this work centers? Okay, I'll come to that later in my slides, but as of now we can park. Work centers are basically the physical area in within the warehouse where we are basically performing the operations. Operations means whenever I'm receiving any material from a vendor, okay, the first operation could be if a material is subject to the quality inspection, I will take it to the quality inspection area, and in that area I will be performing the quality operations. Okay, these operations are basically the work center. Second work center is that, as I given an example of deconsolidation, that I have received a big pallet, okay, from a vendor that has a mix of material. I will first take it to the work center, that is deconsolidation work center, and then break that pallet over there. Same is we have the value added service. We are receiving a t-shirts from the vendor and directly not sending the same t-shirts kind of thing to the customer. We just want to place our logo, okay, company logo over here. So that is basically the value added service that I'm doing over here. So I will take it to the value added services work center. So these are the different work centers that we have in the warehouse. Okay, those are the physical areas where we are performing certain operations, and within these work center EWM basically come up with very advanced standard features. What are the advanced standard features means that it is not simply a storage area where we are taking the material. Within that storage area also there are a lot of features that we have in EWM system that we can play up with. Okay, at a very high level I'll just explaining you over there. Apart from that, in EWM system it is now advanced with the good reporting, okay, that we call it as uh, uh, easy graphic framework or easy graphic forms, EGF kind of things, okay, that you basically use the dashboards and other things in order to present a good chart based informations over the big TV screens in the warehouse and all. How many outbound deliveries has been created, how many have got stuck, at which particular point it got stuck, what is the manpower today, how many what is the efficiency, what is the productivity. So such kind of information you can display using the EGF things that is there in the EWM system. Labor management system is something that is new in EWM system, where you can basically manage the labor. Okay, you have assigned the labor to each and every activity. Like inbound activity, within the inbound you have different inbounds, like inbound return from the customer, inbound from the vendor, inbound for the quality inspection. Okay, so there are many inbounds, inbound from the different plant, that is the STO, we call it as stock transfer order, okay, from one plant to another plant. Okay, so Labor management is basically we are managing the labor within the warehouse, how many labors we have, what is the productivity of that particular labor, what is the efficiency of the labor, okay, what are the charges that we have against the labor. So everything can be depicted in form of charts, in form of pie charts, okay, on the big TV screens. You must have seen whenever you get in past, if you got a chance to get into the warehouse, very advanced warehouse, they have basically mounted big TV screens in order to populate these figures. Okay, and this is one of the best selling points to the customer. Whenever we present in front of customer, we always come up with this design things, the charts and all, and this basically influence them very well. Okay, wow. So they basically like such kind of things through which they they can use it. Okay, so that is what we have, the EGF things and the labor management in place. Okay, now going to the next part. We were continuing with this the extended warehouse management functionalities and the features, okay, that we understand was not no available in the WM system. Okay, so if you can see the very high level process understanding in EWM, okay, we have majorly three processes. Okay, as I said, one is the inbound process, okay, where we are receiving the material from the vendor. And then once we receive the material from the vendor, I'll take it that material into my warehouse. Now in which area I'm putting that material, that is still a question. Okay, that basically depends on how what is the best way to place the material, what strategies we have. Okay, whatever the management have decided, these materials should go to the high racks, these materials should go to the low racks, these materials should go to the bulk area, these materials should go to the open storage area. So accordingly we basically define all those things. Okay, predefined all those things, and against to run those things we basically have the strategies in place. Okay, so what are those strategies, how we define those strategies, I'll come to that later. Okay, I'll just park it for the future sessions. But as of now you can understand there are three major things that we generally see in the warehouse. One is basically the inbound flow, where we are receiving the material from the vendor. One is basically the internal process, how we are dealing the material within the warehouse. Okay, moving the material within the warehouse. Okay, placing the material within the warehouse, that is basically the internal processes. Apart from that, in the internal processes we have the physical inventory in place. Okay, if we want to perform this counting of the materials, we have annual physical inventory, we have the cycle countings in place. Okay, to count the material from the book value. What is book value? Your SAP figures. Okay, the SA, what quantity you have feed in the SAP system and what is the actual quantity that is there in the warehouse. Okay, those are, we call it as physical inventory. Then the third process is basically the outbound. You have received the material, you have placed the material. Now it's a time that you have received the demand from the customer, and against that demand you are fulfilling the demands by sending the material to the customer. For that we are creating an outbound. Okay, we are picking the material from the warehouse, pack it into the beautiful packages, okay, and then deliver it to the customer. This is the three major process we have in EWM. Now if I only focus on the inbound part, you can see in the inbound itself how many ways I can receive the inbound. One is via the transportation unit. Now what is this transportation unit? Have we heard it before in the WM system? No. Transportation unit is basically the vehicle that is coming in the warehouse, and it has a big container. Under that big container we have the material. Okay, so EWM easily address those things. That is the first thing. Good receipt. Okay, simple good receipt. I receive a material, okay, from the vendor. I unload that material from the truck and then take it into the warehouse. That is a simple flow. Advanced flow, I'll come to that. Okay, there are some advanced flow in EWM system also that was not catered under the WM old WM system. Okay, then inbound with the quality management system, that I believe was actually there in the old WM system also. But you can see in inbound process also, if I click over here and try to focus, okay, and compare it with the what all options we have in the EWM system and the amount of features we have, these are basically the different ways through which we can perform the inbound. This is the first level, you call it as first level, second level, third level. Okay, so these are basically the different ways through which we can basically perform the inbound itself. That is quite advanced as compared to the old WM system, and that is the reason that these are the unique unique selling points that we have, okay, or the SAP come up with in order to sell it to the customer, okay, because they have these complexities since from the ages, but they do not have those softwares in place that basically helps in catering to overcome those complexities. That's why they basically switch to some other third party applications also in order to perform those particular things. Still cartonization, okay, if I talked about the cartonization is nothing but it is a big palette in which you are just optimizing, okay, the best optimum way to place the material in a particular पैकेज. एक बड़े डिब्बे के अंदर काफी सारे मटेरियल्स को ऑप्टिमम वे में रखने को हम कार्टनाइजेशन कहते हैं, एंड फॉर दैट कार्टनाइजेशन स्टिल वी आर यूजिंग सम third party tools in warehouse, okay. So you can see the complexities that we have. So just a very high level, don't get much into the deeper side of it, okay, we will go gradually, but try to have a feel of what EWM is, okay, and what features it is coming up with. You can just stop me anytime if you have any questions, okay, in between, okay, so we can address those questions also, okay. So this is what the features are, okay. I'll not go into the features as of now because each and every features has its own big history, okay, and it has its own concepts, okay. So we will go into those concepts gradually, and then we can basically identify the flavors of each and every concepts that we have. But you can see that there are different ways through which we can do the inbound, different ways through which we can do the outbound. We can have the internal processes also, and there are some cross processes. Cross processes means these process can be run for any of these particular processes. That is that it can be used for the inbound, it can be used for the outbound, it can be used for the internal flow. Like cross docking is a cross process that can be used for inbound and outbound. Many of you may not be knowing the cross docking. That is fine. It is simply receiving a material from the vendor and then sending it to the customer without storing that material in the warehouse. बिना मटेरियल को वेयरहाउस में स्टोर करे हुए we are basically receiving the material and sending it to the customer. That is what the cross docking is, okay. And yard management can also be used in the inbound and the outbound, okay. Import, export, all those things are basically the advanced side of the EWM. Now if we compare WM, okay, with EWM, okay, so you can basically now get some understanding of it, that what is there in WM and EWM. Forget about IM, okay. In the material management, what is the lowest level in the material management where we can maintain, we can track the material, okay, that is a storage location, okay. After storage location we cannot track the material, it is a black box for us, okay. And now consider if any of your storage location is this much big, okay, and if you want to place a material in a particular storage location, if you only have the material management software in place, okay, if you are only using with SAP okay, and you want to place a material in the warehouse, you cannot place it, because the last place to track the material in the system is the storage location, and after storage location you do not track where the material is, okay. So if I compare it with so the storage location is the lowest level. In warehouse management system, the storage bin, storage unit, handling unit or quant is basically the lowest level. And in the EWM also, the storage bin is basically the lowest level. And in the storage bin, if we have the handling units in place, okay, that we call it as storage unit in WM, then it is basically the lowest level. Means in a bin we have either one handling unit or we can have the multiple boxes in place, okay. So at up to that particular level we can track the things. If we talk about the RF scanners, we cannot use RF scanners in the material management, but we can use RF scanners in WM and EWM. In EWM, the only edge I have is basically it is highly integrated, okay. With a limited amount of configuration I can perform the things. Replenishment, replenishment is basically refilling of storage bins, okay. Refilling means that if you go into the big Walmarts or in the big bazaars or any of the big marts, so they have the big materials or the materials lying in the bulks in the warehouse, okay. and and the aisles and other things. Aisles means where they basically store all the materials for the general public. They basically go through those aisles, okay, pick the material and then put it into their bucket and then go for the billing. So that is basically the only the front area, okay, where we have a minimum space, okay, where we have a minimum space under the storage bin, and we basically perform the refilling as and when the material goes below a particular level. Okay, so those are the refilling of material from the main warehouse or from the main storage type or from the bulk storage type to the some other storage type. So we do not have replenishment at the bin level in material management, but we have that in the warehouse management and in the EWM. Okay, EWM has quite advanced replenishment, 4 to 5 different type of replenishments that we have in EWM. Cycle counting is there in Okay, material management, we can have the cycle counting for the classified material ABC. In WM we do not, we do have cycle counting, and in EWM also we have. Okay, very high level, I'm just going through it. Okay, automatic stock placement and stock removal. If I want to place a material in the warehouse, will system can guide to place the material in the warehouse automatically? Yes, that feature we have in WM system, and the same feature we have in EWM system also. The only difference that we have in the WM and EWM, there are only limited strategies that we have in place for the placement and the picking. Around 6 to 7 strategies we have for the placement, and 6 to 7 strategies we have for the picking in the WM system, the old WM system. And if you have any other scenarios in between that do not cater or that do not fall under those strategies, then you have to do the coding. Okay, you have to take the help of ABAPers, you have to use the user exits, and then you basically have to align with the delta scenarios, whatever the scenarios you have. In EWM system you can design your own strategies. That is what the power is. Okay, you are not restricted to use 6 to 7 strategies that we have in the WM system, but you can basically create your own set of strategies depending on the different type or whatever the strategies that come to your mind. Okay, you can basically drive, okay, n number of strategies in EWM system. You can create your own, and then you can basically use that. Cross docking is not there in material management. In WM we have the cross docking, receiving and sending without storing the material. The same cross docking we have in EWM system, but in EWM system it is advanced. Okay, little advanced, only very little improvement I have seen, okay, as compared to WM. What is the, if I talked about this layout oriented and process oriented, this is actually the backbone of EWM. Okay, it has a very high edge. Okay, and this is one of the unique functionality that I've seen, okay, as compared to WM. So what is layout and the process oriented, I'll just park it for the later. And this is one of the best topic that interview will ask you. No interview will go without this particular topic, I'm telling you. Okay, if you are preparing for the interview, or if you're preparing for the implementation also, no implementation can goes without this layout oriented and process oriented storage control concept. Okay, what is this? I have that particular slide also. And then we have a labor management in place. Okay, so labor management, we do not have. Okay, though I have no set it as a tick, but labor management is not available in WM system, but that is available in EWM system. Now why I'm focusing on this? When you basically get at the role of architect, you have to basically tell all those things in front of customers. What is the difference between WM and EWM? First thing they will ask you, what is now the difference in the WM or in EWM that is not there in the WM? Okay, if they are basically spending millions of dollars, okay, in order to switch to the new things, what is the main difference? It is the difference of the features, is different of the complexity that the EWM system is catering. And you can see what all the features that we have. Okay, the list of the features that we have over here. Okay, and the list of features that we have as compared to the WM. So these are some of the very important things that you have to understand as a EWM consultant. Okay, जब तक आपको ये नहीं पता लगेगा कि WM और EWM में difference क्या है, okay, you cannot basically influence anyone. So this is the first thing that you should have in your mind, that what is the major differences that we have. Okay, now coming to the layout. Okay, so every warehouse has a different layout. Okay, in one organization also. Okay, if one organization has a multiple plants and multiple storage location and multiple warehouses in different areas, in Pune they have one warehouse, in Mumbai they have one warehouse, in Noida they have one warehouse. Okay, each and every warehouse is little different, different from the other warehouses, okay, in terms of the structure. Process wise it could be same. Now what is process? Process means you can consider that you are getting into the warehouse, or you are just not going to buy a particular product from Walmart. Okay, what is the process of the Walmart? You will just pick one, trolley. You can call it as a handling unit. Okay, and then you will take that trolley into the different aisles, okay, confectionery aisles, or uh, aisles related to the snacks and other things. You will just hand pick all those items, put it into that particular trolley, or whatever the handling unit you have just picked up on. Okay, and then move back to the billing counter. You'll just do the billing and then move out. This is the process we have. Now you will go to one mall Walmart that is in Tennessee, and you can go to another mall Walmart that is in Andover or Boston. The process will remain same. There is no change in the process. Where is the change in the means what is changed? The change is could be there in the layout. The confectionery store that is there at the ground floor in Tennessee may be at the first floor in Boston or in Andover or in Hampshire or something else. Okay, that is the only difference. So every warehouse is basically has a little difference from the other warehouse in term of structure. Okay, you can place the material at the first floor, you can place the material at the ground floor, you can place the material at the third floor. Okay, but the process will same across the warehouses, okay, of picking the material, of issuing the material, or of managing the material. So there is a big difference between the process and the layout. Layout could be different, process will remain the same. Okay, that thing we have to understand. Same is for the outbound or for the return. You go into any apparel shop for return, what is the thing? You come, no, you first have to basically no create a gate pass, okay, from the security one, and then you will take that gate pass along with the apparel that you want to return, and then you will look for the customer return section. You will go over there, you will just talk to them, and then they will basically return the things. Now customer section could be at the first floor, customer section could be at the second floor at some other location. Okay, so these things are basically very beautifully designed in EWM, that was not initially looked, or you can say overlooked, in WM system. Okay, so those things are very beautifully defined in EWM system, and that is the reason we do not, still we basically face issue in creating the global templates. ग्लोबल टेम्पलेट्स का क्या मतलब है कि जब भी मैं कोई एक बड़ा वेयर हाउस पकड़ता हूँ एक क्लाइंट का, okay, so I have to basically design one template for them. Okay, and that template will be roll out across all the warehouses. Now in EWM, that is what the issue is, that each and every warehouse is basically little differ from the other one, and that is the reason for every template, whatever the template we have designed as a global template, we always keep a margin of those layout oriented changes. Okay, so EWM में ये issue है. Whenever you are going with the implementation and whenever you are designing the global templates, this is the prime issue that you will identify, that each and every warehouse is a little different from the other warehouses, and you have to basically create lot of, or you basically keep a scope of global templates or the estimation of the global templates in terms of the layout. Always you will mark it under the assumptions. Okay, now coming back, what is warehouse layout? Okay, so this is how the typically the warehouse look like, where we are basically having the doors in place. Okay, these are the doors where the vehicles get parked, and we unload the material in the warehouse. Where we unload the material, we unload the material in the good receipt area. Now for those who do not know the good receipt area, it is basically the initial area in the warehouse where we basically unload the material. Okay, very beautiful example or very basic example is that whenever you receive a material from any of the confectionery guy at your doorstep, you basically first receive the material and then put it no there itself at the door, and then you basically do the inspection of those material. If every material is perfectly fine, then you will pick those material and then take it into the kitchen. Before that you will not take it into the kitchen. So that area where you're just keeping the material for some time for your inspection, visual inspection, quality, or counting, that is the good receipt area. Same way we have in the warehouse also. Whenever we receive a material from the vendor, we basically park it somewhere for the temporary purpose, where we are counting those materials, visually inspecting those materials, or some other things. Okay, but that is a temporarily place, or temporary, or we are placing that material temporarily only. Okay, it is not we are placing it over here for quite some long time. Okay, so these are the doors that we have. we receive the material from different vendors. Okay, they park their vehicles over here at the doors, we call it as a dock also. Okay, and then they unload the material, and once the material gets unloaded, we basically put it at the good receipt area, and from the good receipt area we can basically take it to the different storage types that we have. So you can consider that these are the different storage types that we have. The entire storage location, they are divided into different types. Suppose 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 10 different type of materials you are dealing up with. So you have just not divided the entire storage location into 10 different materials. You have created 10 different racks, and each and every racks belongs to one type of material. Okay, as simple as this. Now it is not as simple as what we are discussing, that we are received the materials and then from here I'll just put the material into the racks. There are many different operations in between also. Now what are those operations? That is what we call it as work centers. Okay, so I'll just take you over here. Okay, so if I talked about IM side, okay, so this is my IM story location. Okay, IM. So whenever a material receive, I receive a material. Okay, receive. Okay, I'll place the material into the storage location, that is 101, and after that what is happening I don't know. Where I'm keeping the material, from which door I'm receiving the material, okay, in which storage type and putting the material, I have no idea on this. That is what the drawback of material management. But material management has many other things, okay, like the procurement side and other side. Okay, but from the store side or the good receipt side, it is basically a kind of black box that we do not know. Now if I talked about the WM system, okay, so in the WM system you can see we are receiving a material. These are the different doors that we have. Okay, just give me a second. So these are the doors that we have. So in warehouse management system we do not define such kind of doors. Okay, we take the material, we receive the material, we perform the good receipt, we bring it to the good receipt area directly. Okay, and from the good receipt area we basically place the material into the storage type. So these are the different storage type we have. We place the material, we receive the material in the good receipt area, and then place it into the storage type. Okay, so if you try to understand the flow is basically I have one type of material. So that material I'm receiving from vendor one. Okay, and when I'm receiving it, I'll basically put it under the good receipt area. That is my first area in the warehouse, and then after that I will basically take it to the storage type, storage section, and the storage bin. That is one flow that we have in the old WM system. Second flow, if a material is subject to the quality inspection, then the flow is basically I receive the material at the good receipt area, and from the good receipt area, if the material is subject to the quality inspection, I'll take it to the quality inspection, and after the quality inspection I will take it to the final destination bin. Okay, once the material is quality approved, I will take it to the final destination bin. If it is not quality approved, I will take it to the return area. Okay, and then from that return area I will move the material out from the warehouse out. That is what the flow we have in WM system. Okay, so how to and in WM system, okay, these quality inspection and packaging center. Okay, what is packaging center? So whenever we basically receive a material or we receive a demand from the customer, we pick the material from a particular storage type. Okay, and if we want to basically deliver the material in no, in some no, cartons or the boxes or in the bubble paper or something, we take it to the packing centers, pack those materials, bring it to the good issue area, and from the good issue area we basically move the material out from the doors. That is what the main concept of the packing center. Now in WM system, these quality inspection and the packing center is just a storage type. It is a hollow storage type in which you do not have any no functionalities. Okay, now if I go and compare it, the layout or the warehouse layout with EWM system. Okay, so you can see in EWM system we have lot of things in place. Okay, so you have receive a material at the doors. Suppose you have different doors at this particular point. Okay, D1, D2, D3. Okay, now you are receiving not three different type of materials, and these three different type of materials will receive at three different doors. How? One material can be a normal material, one material can be a hazardous material, one material can be a chemical material. Okay, so we cannot basically receive the material at the hazardous no area, we cannot receive the chemical material in the normal material area. Okay, so that's why we have defined three different doors for this. Okay, and when we are receiving the material in the these via these the different doors, we have different good receipt areas also. We do not want to combine that no three different type of material: normal material, hazardous material, chemical material, or refrigerated material in one good receipt area. We have different good receipt areas for those different materials. Okay, so in EWM we can map those things for each and every material classification, the characteristic, based on the characteristics of the material, based on the type of material, we can design that this material should come to this particular door, and from this particular door it should go to the good receipt area, designated good receipt area only. Okay, if I'm receiving a hazardous material should always come to door 2, it should not go to door 1 or door 3. So that type of restrictions we can add in EWM system. Okay, we call it as door determination and the staging area. And when I'm receiving the material from a particular door, then I can only take that material to the good receipt area 2, that is specifically meant for the hazardous materials. जहां पर hazardous material हम रखते हैं good receipt area में, उसी जगह पे only on that particular area only we will receive the material. Okay, as a good receipt area. Now over here you can see there are no different things. Okay, that is colored. One is counting, one is the inbound pack, one is basically the deconsolidation, one is quality inspection area, one is packing center, one is value added service. What are these colorful things? These colorful things are basically, we call it as work centers. Okay, these are what? These are the physical area within the warehouse where we are performing the different operations. Okay, so if a material is subject to the quality inspection, I will take it into the quality inspection area and perform the quality inspection related operations over there. If material required any value added service like oiling or labeling or something, I will take it to the value added service area. Okay, this area. Okay, I will take it to the value added service area. Okay, and then from the value added service area I will store the material back to the warehouse. If I receive a material in a big pallet, I will take it into the deconsolidation area first. Okay, and then from the deconsolidation area I will break that big pallet into the smaller pallets and then park it or place it into the storage type. If I have received the material as it is, and before placing the material into the storage type I have a requirement कि मेरे को वो material को pack करके ही warehouse के अंदर रखना है. I have to pack that material first and then place it into the warehouse. Then I will bring that material to the packing work center. I will pack that material and then place it into the warehouse. If material is subject to the quality inspection, I receive the material from the door to the good receipt area, take it to the quality inspection. Once the quality inspection is done, I will take it to the storage type. If I need a counting, I receive a material at the good receipt area, I need to perform a counting. After counting I need to take it to the quality inspection area. I will take it to the quality inspection area and then I will take it to the final destination bin. Then I can do this. Now try to understand what I'm trying to say over here is basically that flows of the material. Here in EWM system we can basically design different flows. Okay, for each and every material. Okay, so you can see what flows means. So one material, okay, ABC material I'm receiving, I receive it from the door. Okay, it will go to the good receipt area and then it will directly go to the storage type, storage section, storage bin. Very standard simple material that do not require any quality inspection, that do not require any deconsolidation, that do not require any value added service. There is another type of material that you are receiving, but that material basically subject to the quality inspection, so it will go to the door, come to the good receipt area, then go into the quality inspection, and then after quality inspection it will go to the storage type, storage section, storage bin. That is the second flow that we can design. Third material, I'm receiving the material from the door, it comes to the good receipt area. it we receive the material in big pallets, so we need to break that big pallet into the smaller pallets. So I'll go to the deconsolidation area, break it into the smaller pallets. Okay, keep one type of material in one packet and then take it to the quality inspection also, because that material is subject to quality inspection. I will take it to the quality inspection, and after the quality inspection I will take it to the final destination. See the complexity that we are mapping in the warehouse, and this is what the power or the beauty of EWM is. You can design n number of process flows for each and every material that was not there in WM system. Okay, you're receiving one type of material, you will perform, okay, good receipt and then take it to the final destination bin, or good receipt, quality inspection, or final destination bin. That's it. 2 or 3 step maximum. In EWM you can create any steps. Now consider that you have a material. Okay, I'll just open this. You receive a material from a door, specific door only. You take it to the good receipt area. That is first step. After good receipt area, take it to the counting station. You are counting the material. After counting the material, you need to pack those materials. You have packed that material. Okay, and after, or you can say, you after counting you will take it to the quality inspection area. You have done the quality inspection. After that you bring it to the packing station. You have packed the material and then put it into the storage area as per the warehouse need. So that is what the flow is. So you can design as many as flow as you want for each and every material, instead of relying on the warehouse operator to remember what is the process. Okay, yeah, what is the process for each and every material to be performed in the warehouse. System will do it on your behalf. I'll tell you one, live example that I faced. Okay, when I was working for one of the project that is based out in Kemnath in Germany, Erlingen. It is a big, medical device company. Okay, so they have, a big warehouse. Okay, so let me show over here. So they have big warehouse. Okay, so this is the warehouse they have, and they have the production area over here. Okay, so this is the production area. Now what they do, they basically pick the material from the warehouse and then bring it to the production area, production PSA you can call it as. And this is the warehouse where we have all the storage types and the material line over here. Now to move the material from warehouse to production supply area, there are around now 8 to 9 buildings in between. Okay, buildings, physical buildings, and in each and every building they basically perform different operations. One is basically consolidation they do. In one they basically do the inspection. In one they basically do some, composite things and other things. Okay, I forgot that. Okay, so to move the material from this warehouse to the final PSA, that is the production area, it took around 5 hours. Normal 5 hours for a material. And warehouse operator don't, or the manager don't know where the material is at which particular point, whether it is at this area, this area, this area, this area, which area it is, they don't know. And how the flows goes, they pick the material and bring it to the building one. Once the building one activity is done, they basically move the material to the building two. Once the building two is done, they may move to the building three or building four if material is not subject to go to these two particular building. Okay, and then from the building five, from building five they go to building six, and from building six it comes to the PSA. And different material have different flows. They may go to building one to building two, and directly building eight to. So you can see for each and every material they have a different flow. Each and every material has to go through different processes, and they don't know where the material is. So when we implemented EWM, it was very easy for them to track what material should go follow which particular process, and where my material is, okay, at which particular area or building it is, and in within the building under which operation it is going up with. Okay, if it is in the quality inspection area, within quality inspection we have sub processes at which particular process my material is stuck at. Okay, and then they can easily use it. We have implemented Fiori applications over here, so each and every warehouse have the Fiori applications with them. So whenever they receive the material, it basically, pop up on their Fiori applications. They basically process it, confirm it from the Fiori applications, and then pass it to the next area or next building. That is what the process we have. So the place was Kemnath. Maybe those who are from Germany, they basically know there is a place Kemnath, okay, based out in Erlingen. So that was the area where we have supported from this EWM side. Okay, anybody got anything? Means
सर
hello.
सर मुझे एक डाउट था।
हाँ, बताओ बताओ। यस
हाँ, डाउट मतलब एक क्वेश्चन था कि ये फ्लो है वो कंसल्टेंट ही ड्रॉ करता है क्या
yes
मतलब
yes
डिजाइन।
yes yes now what, how the things happens. Now whenever the customer basically invite you at their place, जो आप अपनी जगह पे आपको बुलाएंगे, they will invite you, boss, this is my warehouse, how you will design it. No, there are a lot of questions being as a consultant, EWM consultant, we have to ask. Okay, the very first thing, okay, I've these are some of the most common questions that you have to ask, that how many different materials you have in your warehouse. Okay, what are the different flows for each and every material you have in your warehouse. Okay, all come from the doors, or there are some other separate doors for the material. All receive at the same good receipt area, or there are no different good receipt area. Means suppose you have a refrigerated material, वो मटेरियल जो आपके जो फ्रोजन मटेरियल्स होते हैं, यू कैन नॉट कीप इट ओपन, so there is a separate area for that. Okay, so there should be a separate designated area for the free, cold storage materials, or the material that is chemical material or hazardous material. You cannot keep it with some other material, because they have a different standard, they have a different norms, government norms होते हैं उनके, उसके हिसाब से आपको प्रोसेस करना होता है materials को. Okay, so those things you have to ask, what is the flow of this particular material, what is the flow of the second material, what is the flow of the third material. Those flows we have to design in the system. First of all, we open the excel, we basically design those flows. Hardly there are 8 to 9 flows in each and every warehouses. We basically design those flows, and under which flows which all materials comes in. Okay, so that's how we basically design the thing, and then we basically configure it into the EWM system. Okay, now 10,000 materials are there. Those 10,000 materials basically drive in 10 different flows. You have already designed those flows in the system. Assign those flows to the material master. Okay, material, हर एक material को आपने वो flow assign करते हैं, or accordingly the material basically works or flow in the warehouse. This is how we basically perform the things. There are a lot of other things also that you have to look, like the structures and other things, but from the process point of view, this is how we basically design the things. Did I answer your question? Hello, my voice is audible to everyone?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
सर
So
आपकी
ठीक
आवाज
है,
नहीं आ रही है.
नहीं आ रही है, औरों को आ रही है आवाज मेरी?
हाँ हाँ हमको आ रहा है.
Breaking.
Okay, okay,
Yes, yes.
okay, okay, okay.
Yes.
So you can see that how the things are designed in WM system, and how the things are basically extended in EWM system. So if you can see, the material now can be tracked in EWM system, can be tracked at the storage bin level. The goods movement within the warehouse can be tracked. Okay, it can very beautifully tracked in EWM system. Okay, at each and every process you can track the things. Different material with a different flow can be mapped. Okay, if I have 10 different type of material, that 10 different type of material can move in 10 different ways in the warehouse. Okay, using the 10 different processes. Door determination and the staging area is basically there in EWM system. EWM system is also connected to the transportation management system. It is integrated with the RF, it is integrated with MFS system, it is integrated with Fiori application. So there are a lot of things that they have, no, SAP have invested. Okay, so
Hello, sir. I have a question.
yes, your good name?
Preetham,
Pritam, yeah, Pritam, please go ahead.
sir, there is a functionality deconsolidation, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and there's one more functionality slotting and rearrangement. So these both functionalities are similar.
No, both are different. Now, understand what is deconsolidation. Deconsolidation, as I said, that you have received a big pallet. Okay, you
Mm-hmm.
break that pallet. Okay, and that big pallet is basically have mix of materials, and you do not want to
Yeah.
basically place the material as it is. Suppose, consider one case. Okay, this is a big material that you have. Okay, and it has 4 different materials in it: M1, M2, M3, M4, and you have a
Yeah.
storage space. Okay, that is, that cannot no accommodate this much big material. Okay, आपके पास इतनी
Mm-hmm.
बड़ी जगह है ही नहीं. Okay, in the
Mm-hmm.
warehouse, if you can see over here, suppose you have such kind of where is such kind of spaces. Okay, so this is the
Mm-hmm.
space you have, and you have receiving such this much big pallets over there. Where is that?
Yeah.
Okay, ये नीचे वाला जो है ये. So how you
Mm-hmm.
can
Okay.
place it. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to basically use deconsolidation. In deconsolidation, what it does, it basically break this big pallet. Okay, and create 4 different pallets, smaller pallets, that can accommodate in this storage bin. So it will y- it will club, okay, one type of material in one pallet. Means all M1 material will be packed in one handling unit, okay, H1. All M2 materials will be packed under H2. All M3 materials will be packed under H3, okay, and then
Mm-hmm.
H4. And then you can take those materials and then place it into the storage bins. Okay, that is what the deconsolidation is, means breaking the big pallet into the smaller
Mm-hmm.
one. Slotting
Okay.
is basically a concept where you are optimizing the good receipt strategy. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it is
Okay.
basically more related to placement of material in the warehouse. The more optimum way to place a material in the warehouse, in that case the system basically has a lot of parameters in place. Lot of parameters
Okay.
means what type of material it is, what is the shape, volume, dimension of the material is, what is this material is packing under which handling unit, what is the weight, volume, dimension of the handling unit. Okay, in that storage bin where you are now placing this material, how many such materials this storage bin can map. Okay, or how many materials we can basically place under this storage bin. That is what the slotting is. Okay, it is an automatic thing that is driven by the system by considering many different parameters. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
वो बहुत advanced है. That is quite an advanced topic where we basically
Okay.
have
Yeah.
to no, add lot of things into the system as a part of master data. It look for
Mm-hmm.
the your forecasting results, it look for your structure of the warehouse, it look for your materials, it look for your packaging material, it look for the weight, volume, dimension of the material, it look for the weight, volume, dimension of the packaging material, it look for the storage bin, it look for the sequence of the storage bin, it look for the sequence of the storage type. बहुत सारी चीजें देखता है वो. That is what the
Okay.
slotting is. Slotting means the optimum way to place the material in the warehouse, and in that case system will drive those things automatically.
Mm-hmm.
Here the
Okay.
consultant only configure those things, and once you have implemented the site, you will run the report and the material as per the algorithms that is running in the EWM system. It basically identify the correct place in the warehouse, or you can say the more optimum place for a material to be placed in the warehouse. That is slotting is. Okay, very high level I have told you. Okay, when we get
Yeah.
into the slotting topic, you will able to understand what the slotting is. Okay,
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
no problem. So I'll stop over here, okay, because time is running out. Okay, so there are a lot of other things, okay, that we have. Just a very high level understanding you can have, or I'll talk about this, in the upcoming classes. So we have many other things like decentralized and embedded. Why we use decentralized, why we use embedded, that is also a very most important questions. Okay, whenever you are going with the implementation, it doesn't mean that you have to only go with the decentralized or you have to only go with the embedded one. There are a lot of scenarios, a lot of things that you have to look for. Okay, if there is a big company who is already running on the WM system and they do not want to go with a big bang. Okay, big bang means that they have no convert the entire warehouse, okay, into EWM system. That is a big bang. They want to go gradually, so what they will do, they will basically add another storage location in their warehouse structure and add that storage location with EWM system. That is a decentralized EWM system. So gradually they will basically only in that storage location they will do the goods receipt of few materials. Okay, and then gradually they will increase the pace. यहाँ से WM को धीरे धीरे खाली करेंगे और EWM में चीजें भरते रहेंगे. That is what the deconsolidation, one way of using the decentralized is. Another is there are big warehouses where the throughput means inbound and the outbound flow of the material is very high. Okay, where your embedded one will not work. Okay, what is embedded? Just to answer this and then I will stop. Embedded is basically, you can just consider one case very beautifully said by someone, that is you have an mobile phone, and if you want to take pictures, okay, you are very you want to take pictures, so in mobile you have all the applications, along with that there is a camera options also. Okay, that will help you to take good pictures. But if you are professional one, then you have to basically buy the DSLR and other things where you have lot of features in the DSLR. Okay, so that features is basically you have in the decentralized one. Okay, you have the high throughput input, you have the high complexities to basically drive on the MFS like conveyors and other things. So decentralized are also used for those particular things where you want the advancement, where you want the complexities in place. Okay, 90% or 80% you can say companies basically use embedded, because whatever the requirement they have, those are easily fulfilled under the embedded one. But if you have the flows like DHL, Blue Dart, or Micro Ingram, okay, so you have to basically go with, or Amazon, you have to go with decentralized one, depending on the throughputs. So there are many cases through which you have to basically drive whether we want to take it to the decentralized or embedded EWM system. Okay, process wise also, at some processes like inbound and outbound, there are little changes in the embedded as well as a decentralized. Configuration point of view, in decentralized there are no little high configuration as compared to embedded. Okay, so these are the few common differences you can identify, okay, in decentralized, that we will discuss in the upcoming session. So as of now, I'll summarize that in today's session I'll just only talk about what is EWM system and how it is basically differ from the WM system. Okay, as a consultant, this is the first thing that you should know, that if I'm going to the new thing, what is the features that we have, what is the complexity it is basically catering of. Okay, and how we can map all those things, so there are a lot of features that we have, as you can see over the screen. So we will discuss on those features, okay, depending on the classes that we have. Okay, so I'll stop over here. I'll just open another 5 minutes for your queries if you have any queries, and then we can stop. Any questions?
Uh, yes, I
Mhm.
want to know what structure for this course means, how it will goes on.
Sorry, actually your voice was breaking for me. Can you please repeat your question again?
मेरे को ये जानना है ना कि अ, अभी
Mhm.
हमारा जो भी कोर्स होगा ना ईडब्ल्यूएम का, मतलब ये कैसे
Mhm.
कंडक्ट होगा, मतलब ड्यूरेशन कितना रहेगा, और हमको वीडियोज कैसे मिलेंगे, रिकॉर्डेड सेशन, और उसका एक्सेस कब तक रहेगा, मतलब ऐसे जनरल क्वेरीज, क्योंकि
Okay, so the access, yes, that's a good question. Okay, so first thing
और एक
is
चीज
that हाँ बताइए.
कि
Mhm.
आपका मतलब अभी आपने जो भी मतलब प्रेजेंट किया और जो भी एक्सप्लेन किया वो बहुत सुपर था. इ- मतलब एक कमेंट
Okay,
मेरे फ्रॉम मी.
thank you. Thanks. Okay, thanks for the compliment. Okay, so coming to your question, okay, so let me reshare it. So whatever the course I have, so this is the course, okay, that I've already shown to you.
या दैट
I'll share.
कंटेंट ना.
Huh. So
हाँ.
that content is basically sufficient for you to consider yourself as a EWM consultant. Okay, so this
यस.
is how the content is designed. Now this entire content is basically bifurcated into two parts. One is basically the basic one. Basic one means you want to basically understand the basics of EWM, inbound outbound flow. Okay, and slotting, quality inspection, RF kaise chalta hai, all those things you can basically understand in the basic one. And then there is a advanced side also, integration with
ओके.
production, yard management, okay, kitting. So both flavors you can basically take on. Okay, so the entire course is basically for 56 hours. Okay, the advance,
ओके.
considering advance. Okay, it may
ओके.
go to 58 also, depending on how easily you are grasping the things. Okay, जहां पर आपको ज्यादा समझ नहीं आ रहा है, I will give more and more time over there. Okay, that is what my promise is. Okay, I will give
ओके.
more time over there. Okay, so
ओके.
it may go from 56 to 58 hours. Okay, server
ओके.
access, you will get 3 months server access. Okay,
ओके. ओके.
or basic or advanced you will get 3 months. Okay, that is, and if you want to basically add more, then you have to pay extra for this. Okay, for the server.
ओके.
So
फॉर
three
द
months
सर्वर.
is the, yes, for 3 months is the basic one. 4 to 5 days a week, okay, we will be having a class. I'll start with 1 hour or 1 hour 15 minutes. I basically love to give training, so I can basically stress up to 4 hours also. Okay, so that is what my problem is. So you guys have to stop me. Okay, so 1 hour to 1.5 no you can say 15 minutes, or hardly it can stress to 1.5 hours, okay, a day.
ओके.
Okay,
ओके.
so that is what we are basically going up with. In that case, in the advance, there are no weekly assessments and the mock-up interviews also. Now why mock-up interviews? Maybe some of you are basically planning to give interviews in EWM. Okay, so it is not as easy as you are considering that मैंने कोर्स करा और मैं इंटरव्यू देने पहुंच जाऊंगा. No, ऐसे नहीं होता है वो कभी. मेरा अगर WM का भी experience, if I have a WM experience and I want to basically show it into EWM, there are a lot of questions interview will ask that how you get into EWM. First tell me this. Okay, you are saying that you have done the implementation. What was your role in the implementation? Okay, who other people are there in the implementation? What were their role? Okay, how you know simply get into the implementation? So they will start grilling you. So you have to bridge those things. You have to influence them. Okay, so there is a capability, a capability team was there who, and I was the part of the capability team, and then they appointed the solution architect from outside. They basically trained us for the first side, and then for the second side we were the frontiers. So such kind of stories you have to play in front of interviewer, then only they will basically start realizing your concepts. Okay, then he will come to come to the technical things. First thing is how you come into the EWM, how you have done the implementation in the very first go. कल आप EWM में आए और आज आपने implementation कर भी दिया, वाह, ऐसे nobody will believe in that particular case. Okay,
Correct. Yes.
so you have to basically play with that particular thing. You have to bridge a gap. जो भी gaps बने हुए हैं ना, you have to bridge those things and accordingly you can basically perform those. So it has a mock-ups things also. So we can basically, I have already take a lot of interviews. I've given interviews. I know the feel of, okay, where you can get stuck. So those things we can also discuss. Okay,
Okay.
those things we have, but I am not guaranteeing that you will pass on. Okay, but I can only support you. What thing I
Yes.
have with me as a guarantee is that I can impart my knowledge, okay, to you. Rest anything
Okay.
else I do not have in my hand. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, any other
And
questions?
and
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
One question is pending. About the
Yeah,
recording session.
Nitin, you can stop the recording. Otherwise,
Recording is
we'll
already stopped, I think. No.
no,
Can you stop the
no.
recording,
Okay.
Nitin?
Okay, just give me a second. Yeah, I'll stop
Yeah.
it. I think I've already stopped. No, sorry. Yeah.